Welcome to the Transport Manager Coach podcast, a space where we share real stories, practical lessons and inspiring conversations from the world of transport and logistics. I'm Darren Mathias, and every week we sit down with transport managers, auditors, consultants and entrepreneurs who are out there making an impact, keeping fleets safe, business compliant and the industry moving forward. Our goal with the show is simple: to give you insights, tools, encouragement to grow in your role, build your business, and step into the best version of yourself as a leader in transport. Let's dive in.
So today we're joined by Jaz, an ex-British military, now qualified transport manager who's made a successful transition into civilian life. Jaz, for anyone who doesn't know you yet, can you tell us a bit about your background and what your role was in the military?
Oh, thank you, Leo. Thank you for inviting me to this podcast. And probably this is my first podcast. I'm not quite sure how to really come out of this. But a bit about me. My name is Jaswinder. I'm 27. I joined the military when I was 20. And I've spent time with the infantry regiment, One Rovers. And came out of the military earlier on this year in January. Since then, I've been working in the transport and logistics sector. Throughout my resettlement, I was interested in the sector as well. So this is a little brief intro about me.
Oh, wicked. And what were your responsibilities in the military, like your day-to-day role? And was any of that to do with logistics?
Day-to-day role varies quite a lot because I was with the infantry regiment, so it's a frontline work, and my regiment is armored, which means it's involved tanks, which is called Warrior 510. It's a smaller version of the bigger tank, and the other fleet involves that helps you in the battlefield when you are with the armored battle group. So I won't go much into the military terms. I mean, I won't use much of the military lingo here to just simplify the podcast. But yeah, everything is logistic. When we say anything that is moving from A to B, that's logistics. And transport is the vehicles that is involved in there. So whereas even moving troops and moving any supplies from frontline to the front line, or from anywhere from the front line to anywhere wherever we are operating. Everything is the logistics in terms of making the battle group effective in the front. So
wow.
So when I joined initially, I joined it as a rifle company, whereas you are more responsible for as a rifleman fighting in the front line with the and the other weapons, and just be confident in your job role. And then I moved on to the Delta company, which is a specialized company where you specialize in either you can be a sniper, assault pioneers, where you and mortars and recce. This is all part of battle group. So to support the rifle company and to support the whole operation, I was specialized in anti-tank, so which is I would say a big missile, a 17 kg missile, with the 5 kg tripod and 8 kg of the computer system. You get specialized on operating that, simultaneously have your rifle or your machine guns in your section to support. So this is the frontline system of it. And every infantry unit, because it's an armored unit on top of it, they have their own logistics department, which is called MT department, military transport department of the unit. So that's where all the vehicles, all the tanks get looked after. All the driving hours get recorded there, and everything from training to operation, and even within the unit, we have tanks, we have smaller wagons, which are Land Rovers, to operate on the battle group. Apart from that,
Mhm.
there are quite a lot of other armored vehicles as well. That all class is a green fleet. Then we have a white fleet, which is to do over day-to-day operation in camp, i.e., using the buses and
Okay.
and the other fleet. That's classed as a white fleet. So logistics was always part of my job role. But when I got my HGV license, then it started getting more heavy in terms of I got in interest how the whole logistic and transport system works, and I started learning more about the HGV driving and the HGV managing in my resettlement period.
Oh wow! And so it's I've heard in the military the HGV license is pretty much one of the early things for a lot of people to get qualified in. So I'm guessing so you can move all of these vehicles around from A to B. Is it quite quite heavily suggested that people go for the HGVs, or do you have to kind of just step forward and request it, or is it kind of, are people encouraged to do the HGVs?
I would say it depends upon your role. If your role is more involved in that department, military transport department of the unit, yes. And because it's an infantry regiment I was in, so the main role of the infantry regiment was to fight in the front line. But yes, either you can step forward and ask for it, or either if your role is including that transport and logistic movement, and we'll get a chance to go ahead with that, pass it, and start doing the job in terms of providing the whole logistic to the unit.
Okay. And so you said you were in for 7 years. What did how did that, your time in the military, how did that shape you as a person? From obviously you're 20, you're young, you kind of you can take on the world, and then you're in the military. Is it quite humbling because you've got the discipline there, you've got the training, and it's do they kind of break you down a little bit to build you up, and then as you progress through the 7 years, you obviously got a lot of life experiences. You're growing as a person. How did your time in the service kind of influence the person you are today?
I think military has played a massive role in terms of what I am today and how I feel today, and whatever I've achieved in terms of, I would say, career-wise, socially, physically, mentally. I think the holistic approach of the life to what I am today is due to the military. I was in the University of Stirling in Scotland prior joining to the military, and I was this year, and I come across University Officer Training Cadets program. I joined that part, and from there onwards, I got to know that, yes, I can go down to being a regular soldier. So I spent a little bit of time in the cadets in the university. Then I choose to go forward with the infantry. And my initial regiment that I've chosen, it was 2 Scots, which was based in Edinburgh. And, yeah. So I spent a bit of time in there, and then I chose to move down south. And so the option for me was to transfer from within the same division, which was Scottish, Irish, or Welsh. So it was much easier. Spent my time in Welsh regiment for 5.5 years. Has shaped me a lot mentally, because mental resilience training, that plays a big role.
Cool. I can imagine. Yeah. Did you have friends from sort of like CIVVY life, like before you joined, that were not in the military, that you're communicating with whilst you're in, and you're going through it? And they're probably complaining that, oh, it's Sunday night. I've got work tomorrow in the office at 9 o'clock, and you're there thinking, Jesus Christ, if only you knew what I've been up to for the last 72 hours, what I've been, the paces they've put me through, or the places I've been, or things like that. Do you find yourself doing that type of thing? Because I suppose people, like I know myself, I've had friends who were in the military and who had left, but I never really delved too much into what their day-to-day life was there. But I suppose you just don't really realise what you guys are potentially giving up for everyone else who gets to just complain on a Sunday evening, and they've got to go to a nice air-conditioned office on a Friday morning to sell insurance or something like that.
Yeah, everything I would say in life's got pros and cons. My first job in my life was military, and I would class more as a lifestyle. It's the lifestyle that you live in, and you live in that not from 9 to 5. You live in that 24/7. So changes massively, helps you massively in terms of your mental resilience, plus with your discipline, with your growth, how you look at things, how you look at life, and physically makes you tough as well. And I think a lot of my civilian friends, yes, they were achieving their own goals, whereas I was focused on my own goals. So there's quite a lot the world that offers to you. So it's just your decision what pathway you want to go into. And I enjoyed my time, and to be honest, I still miss it a lot. I miss the challenge that it brings to the life, and the teaching that it brings to the life. And it's just amazing how the way that we get taught, the way that we do things, and the way that our teamwork works, and the discipline is there. So yeah, it's been a massive, I would say, a good thing for me.
Great. And then when was it that you started to think about leaving? And then what was that process like, both kind of emotionally and practically? Like, obviously, you've got to try and get your head around the fact that you may leave, and I'm assuming some of the relationships and bonds you build when you're in there are huge and very strong, and maybe even some of the dependencies on, like, that where you need to be tonight, tomorrow, where you're going to potentially be sleeping, and where you're going to get your food. And then all of a sudden you've got to think about being out of that routine and that security to, okay, well, now I've got to get out in the world and maybe find a living elsewhere, build new relationships, feed myself a different way, other in the chow hall or something like that. So getting your head in the right space to make that decision, what was that like? And then obviously practically, how did you actually go about leaving, or start thinking about leaving?
So the leaving part from the military comes from the medical side of it, whereas I had quite a lot of injuries in my legs, and and I was suffering from quite a few injuries in my shins. So when I got to know that, this is not going to go north, it's going to be more south. So I started preparing myself. Military's got a really helpful thing called resettlement period. So, and if it's something to do with your medical, and that is much more than a normal resettlement as well. So then I started looking into resettlement. It was challenging for me because, being honest, I never wanted to leave the military. And the world outside, I have never worked in a corporate structure. And so it was quite difficult for me to even think about what sector I'm going to go into after the infantry. And hence I mentioned being surrounded by logistics and getting my HGV licenses. That gave me an idea to work more on it and go ahead with this sector and start exploring. So once I got to my resettlement period, it's a massive help, especially in the last 6 months to 1 year. So where you get the full help from transitioning from military person to a civilian person. And I think it plays a very important role. It's significant for every single service personnel to go through this, because you've been taught throughout your career, throughout the time span that you've spent in the military, set standards and a different way of living as comparatively to civil street. So, but the good thing about it, we can get adjusted to any terrain in the world. So that helped massively for me.
Yeah, I bet that is a huge skill that they do teach you, isn't it? Is the adaptability, adapt to your surroundings, to your location, to temperature, to anything like just to, like you say, adapt to new situations. So that sounds tough. Like you say, you didn't want to leave, and due to the injuries, you had to kind of do so. So that must have been a tough period for you to kind of get your head around. But like you say, you moved into, you had the logistics kind of background from in there, so you kind of had a path that you thought you wanted to go down. So did you have any challenges other than that emotional factor of like, it's a bit shit, really? You could have potentially you got to leave due to injury, but other than that, you've got the resettlement period. What were the other kind of challenges to adjust into civilian life, and what kind of guidance or support did the military give you whilst you was doing the transition?
So the whole transition pack, and I would say the whole transition leave that you get, altogether, it can be up to minimum 4 to 6 months. And while you are still in, and you can ask help from a lot of the education officer and from the resettlement team as well. So they guide you from A to Z. I mean, from basics to designing your CV, and maybe a little bit of demilitarizing your lingo towards to the civilian life, and just getting you introduced to the corporate structure, how to present your skills better. Communication is the key. So it's just it's like a linguistic, whereas you've been learning a different language, but you're learning all the skills. But when you go to a new terrain with a different language, then you just have to present the same skills in a different manner. So apart from this resettlement, I got to work for a company called GXO as a HGV driver first, while I was doing my resettlement, to do the induction with them. So prior to this, I wasn't aware of the transport manager role itself. I was just aware of the logistics, dispatcher, or either just driving trucks from A to B. Once I got to do the induction while I was in resettlement period, that's when I got to know that how big this logistic world is, how big the transport world itself is within the logistics. So it was just complete different scenario for me to even learning about lorry driving. It's just not just sitting behind the wheel and driving from A to B. There's a lot of science involved behind it. Even for the driver itself, there's a lot of rules and regulation, compliance, and policies and procedures behind this. So I got my basic knowledge on the driving itself. When I saw the manager sitting in the office, and I was like, okay, I'm interested in that role. What role does he play here? So got to see that and finished my resettlement, and I went straight into transport managing.
Did you know at the Transport Manager Coach that we can help you with your HGV and Transport Manager insurance? If not, feel free to contact us for more information.
Okay, and then did you do your CPC with DXO? or did you take it on yourself, kind of outside of the company?
So I spent some of my resettlement grant on few other stuff before while doing small courses, and then after I got to know about the transport managing from the GXO. So there is this company in that resettlement pack that provides the transport managing training. So I went signed up with them and did a course for 2 weeks with them. And got to learn a lot from the course itself. It's a nice course. I would recommend everybody who's coming into transport managing, or even being operator, or even if they want to have a enhanced knowledge on the logistics sector itself, just go and try that. It's a brilliant course.
So was that the full CPC, or was that just an OLAT? 2 weeks. It must have been the full CPC, right?
Full transport manager CPC.
Yeah.
Straight away. So
yeah, fair enough. It's quite a tough course, isn't it? There's a lot to take in. That folder, bloody hell. It's
sorry. That was me being recently introduced to the tachograph in the lorry itself, and jumping straight to tachograph, and after 1 month jumping straight onto the course. It was quite, I would say, a big change, and I would say very fast paced to come in into transport managing. But it happens to be when I like something, I can grab it really quick, and so it's more like that mindset kicks in, the operational mindset. So sometimes when there is a need of something to do, then you just go all in 24/7 with the project. So
it's a lot easier to retain the information, isn't it, if you're actually enjoying what you're reading about and you've got a passion for it. And did you then do transport manager work? Did you become an internal transport manager for DXO, or did you just stay as a driver and then start looking for external work?
So after I did the course, it was Christmas holiday last year. I went on my holidays, came back, started looking more into assistant managing, just because I was new to the industry, so that I can get more hands-on experience and just to get more experience on how the civilian transport sector works, because literally you can you have the whole knowledge to running the operation and to driving in tough terrain, to sometimes 24/7 with the operational need and tough conditions. But we do not use the civilian compliance system, i.e. tachograph and our working time directive that we use in the civilian street. So doing my research, doing my job searching all around with all the career fairs, I came to one of the contacts from the resettlement team, and they introduced me to GXO in Feltham branch to work as a transport first line manager. So
cool.
Yeah, before that I've done quite a few interviews with Viola, with DHL. Had a good response from them, had a good response from the XPO as well. So I think it was the last interview that I did with the GXO, and I chose to go ahead with GXO straight away. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And how did you first meet Darren? To be compliant. Obviously, my Oppo here, transport manager coach. How did you come into contact with him and to be compliant?
So with that resettlement period, they introduced you to LinkedIn, which I wasn't even aware of before. And there's a platform for the professional that helps you to get connected and to do your networking. And I think Darren was already registered with the Forces Transition Group, and I was registered on there as well. And we just got connected through the LinkedIn. We started our chat. I think Darren introduced himself to me, and it was just the start of my transport managing at the same time. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, and start off my career as a transport manager with GXO. We got more in contact, me and everybody.
That can cut that out. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
I don't know. Me and Darren met through the LinkedIn. So we started talking. I started asking him a lot of questions about transport managing, how it works, how the whole system works in terms of the compliance side of it and the operator side of it. It was just me learning more about the transport industry. We became good friends from there onwards, and Darren introduced me to come and help him, and he was already helping me a lot with the transport managing and how to excel in a job after getting the license, because getting the license itself is a different thing, but what comes after the license is a lot more in depth, a lot more responsibilities. So yeah, that's how we got in connect.
Yeah, that's what you don't learn necessarily during your CPC course, is it? Is you learn the compliance side, the laws, but you don't learn about how to set up systems in a business and how to approach a new company once you're on a license, and actually step by step start bringing them into line or getting them going and putting procedures in place for them to be able to also stay compliant, because you might only be there for a couple of hours a week type thing. So that's what's great with Darren and To Be Compliant and the transport manager coach. We can help kind of bridge that gap from being successful in a role as an ETM and starting out with just getting your certificate, your CPC certificate. There's still quite a bit of a gap there to jump. So for any other service leaders who are listening, how did you use your standard learning credits? Was it you said it was to help pay for the course, and then also some other mini courses? Was that right? So you used it to pay for the CPC, and then some other little courses along the way also. I mean, how does standard learning credits work, just for people who aren't sort of like au fait with that or familiar?
So standard learning credit is £175. That's given to you every year. Either you're serving, leaving, or I would say up until the discharge date of your service. So that's for your personal development. You can use this for any courses. And there is criteria of using the standard learning credit. It's similar with the LCAS as well. So it's based upon the 80% of the total payment will get paid first to the course applier or to the company. And once you've passed the course and once the certificate has been issued, then the rest of the 20% will get issued. What I did initially was used my last year, because it's April to April, for using the standard learning credits. I used my first SLCs for MS Office course, which is more in depth of how to use Excel, Word, and the other parts of the MS Office correctly. And later on, I've used my SLCs for an OLED course as well. And when I was doing my driving with GXO, with the CPC side, driving CPC side of it, that was done by the GXO. Whereas my resettlement grant that was issued with the same structure, I used it for my transport manager CPC. But when I got in contact with Darren, because Darren and you got a brilliant platform for transport managers, or even anyone who's looking to join the transport or logistic world. So Darren introduced me to few courses in terms of how to excel in the job as a TM, internal TM, as myself. So that helped me massively, and I would recommend that anybody, because there is not such a platform out there that will help you simultaneously while you are on the job. So, using your SLCs or using your LCAS or your resettlement grant, I would highly recommend to go ahead with either as a transport manager CPC or either to simultaneously join on the platform as the transport manager coach itself.
So you could use your SLCs to do an OLAT just to see if transport managers for you, just to introduce you to it. And then if you feel it could be, then you could use your resettlement to actually do the CPC.
Hi, were you aware at being part of the Transport Manager Coach platform that you now have access to the remote downloading software package that we can provide you? For more information, reach out to us.
Is there any from the military, say you did your resettlement, you're transitioning or you have transitioned, you use your resettlement to do your manager's CPC. Is there any further help from the military to help you go out and find work? I know you said they do some courses on LinkedIn and things like that, but like we have the transport manager coach to kind of help educating new and existing internal and external TMs on how to get the most out of their qualification and how to go out and start to find work. But do the military also help from their side as well? Or is it? I know I came along to one of the transitioning days in Southampton, and that was quite amazing to see, like all the different companies from different industries and sectors that are there to try and kind of help offer a bit of guidance or just show what options there are for transitioning military personnel. But from the military side, what else other than the resettlement grants do they offer you?
From the resettlement side of it, it's mostly giving you the grant to do the courses that you are interested in. Either it can be transport or any other sector. And the on-top help, it is the career phase that is organized by the companies or the resettlement pack or like FTG. There is CTP and the Veteran UK, and there is quite a lot of other charities that do organize quite a lot of career fairs. And I think after the license, for the civilian world, there's not such a platform for you to learn and have an aftercare after your transport manager CPC. I think it's more about being an internal manager, and once if you can land on that job as an internal transport manager, and then probably learning hands-on from that job itself, and then excelling in your job. So it's a bit of different way of learning, but the most important part from the resettlement is to landing on that job as a transport manager, because it is a complete different in a civilian world with the compliance side of it, as I mentioned, and with the regulation as comparatively to what we do in military. So I think that's why the platform comes in. And I was really keen to join the transport manager coach to learn more and to excel more. And because I'm quite curious to learn more and more of the transport industry itself. So I think it made sense for me to join the platform itself. For me, it was a thing that Netflix membership can be maybe £20. I don't know how much it is because I never had it. So it's better to use my my funds better in terms of for my future career.
Yeah, definitely, because it could help you, like you say, you can help your career, it can further your career, help you earn more income, and can maybe eventually help you free up more time, so you can afford that Netflix subscription easier, and you might have a bit more time to actually use it in the future.
Mhm.
So today then, what roles are you currently in? Are you on are you an internal transport manager? Are you external? Are you on what licenses are you on at the moment?
So I'm not on the O license with the GXO at the moment. It's a big company where the responsibilities for the O license based upon the hire managers.
Mm-hmm.
I've started my role as a first line transport manager. So this is an internal transport manager role / operation manager, because I'm working on the Costa Coffee projects on their night operation. So it's quite triple, quadruple hatted. So it's not just the role itself as a fleet manager, it's role of managing the whole operation throughout the night, which can be initially as the transport manager, looking after the drivers and looking after the fleet itself. And then it's more operation manager to run the whole operation and liaise with, liaise with the maintenance provider and the other stakeholder and the customer services within the contract itself. And it's also liaising with the warehouse, because the project I work on is a food contract of the Costa Coffee, and providing the whole logistic of their stores in London and half of the England. So it's a big responsibility, and plus I think the busier it is, the better it is for me to learn from there onwards.
Yeah, that is a lot of responsibility, isn't it? Because not only have you got, like you say, the drivers and the maintenance, you're moving, I'm assuming, perishable goods. So if they don't go out on time, then it's just bin stock, which is a massive cost to the company, and you're having to do it through pretty unsociable hours when you'd probably rather be asleep. Yeah, quite a nightmare. And so what have you? So you're in that role now. Your vision going forwards, is it to try and eventually move up to that higher management and get on the O license? You're quite happy where you are? Or do you think you'd maybe try and build up a little bit, get on a license or two on the side? I mean, do you even, if you're, I'm assuming, do you work nights if you're in charge of the night stuff? Yeah. So are you even wanting to try and pick up work during the day, or do you just want to chill out, to get some rest, go to the gym, go to shopping and that? Or are you quite happy to stay in the corporate structure, or would you rather try and build something up externally?
So personally, I would like to go higher up and spend a bit more time at the internal, because the sector itself, even the small part of the sector, is quite huge. And I think learning comes with experience as well of the data operation. So I would definitely be spending. It's a 4-on-4 off operation with my.
Nice.
So it does gives me quite a lot of time off as well to do fitness and other stuff as well, and doing my outdoor adventures. So the goal is to be on the O license, and to be more responsible in the job role itself, and that will come up with more learning in the maybe in future, after a few years, I wanted to get all my learning sorted and see where the niche market is in terms of I getting on the either external transport manager or any other consultancy work, or I would say any other niche that I can find within the industry itself.
Yeah, I agree, like dangerous goods or something like that. Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, no, it's great to, because I've chatted to a lot of external transport managers, but not. I mean, Darren's background obviously was internal transport manager for National Rail, and now yourself. Like it's a lot of responsibility what you have now, and lot of pressure, and like you say, it's busy, and it's nice to have that, isn't it? It's nice to have that to stimulate you when you are at work, rather than be bored or be clock watching and worried about when your shift's going to end. You want to be stimulated and under a bit of pressure, especially maybe coming from the military as well. You probably strive under that when things are going a little bit wrong, and you have to start problem solving and fixing. That's probably what you thrive with. So I can see why you want to stay in the internal role. So if you could give a piece of advice to someone who is currently serving or maybe transitioning at the moment, if you could kind of, from your experience, pass a little bit of advice on to these people, what would it be?
The advice that I can give from my experience that I've seen or done from last, I would say, year and a half within this sector, I would say I actually love this sector itself, and logistics is never-ending job. So to keep the world alive, you need to keep the logistic going on. So, and it's a human nature. Migration in the human itself is a human nature, and similar with the products and the everything else that is connected to human as well. Mm-hmm. For a service leaver, and I think even service personnel who's thinking to sign off in future, I would say start investing in yourself from now onwards. Start planning ahead. Start doing your forward thinking in terms of what sector you wanted to go into. And not just particularly if you are into transport, but any other. I think everything works all in the same way. So you've got to start working and thinking on your weekends and start investing in terms of getting the courses, getting more knowledge, i.e. when you have a lot of free time from the military itself. So that's why I wanted to introduce a few of the courses with the help of Darren and you to provide this to service personnel so that we can give them a bit of context how the transport industry itself it is. I would say OLED is a brilliant course. Somebody who is new to the transport industry, because it will tell you a lot about the driving hours, about the driver itself and the operator itself. I will tell you a lot about the compliance side of it and the rules and regulation from DVSA and DVLA to the operator and to the drivers itself. So combining that OLED course is a big piece of information that you're going to get from that small course. And I would say, even while you're in, I would highly recommend to go forward within your off time to go forward with the Transport Manager CPC. Or you could choose to be on the platform itself just to simultaneously start learning and gathering the knowledge of the industry itself, because with your platform, there's quite a lot of updates all the time, and the managers sharing the knowledge. A lot of internal and external transport manager sharing the day-to-day knowledge, because in logistics, every contract is different to each other. You can work in the same sector, but how the contract works, how the operation works is completely different. I work on a Costa Coffee contract, which is on a cost, which is in London and surrounding areas. So the operation that is working in London in that particular sector is going to be completely different with the same project, with the same set of system that is outside London. So everything comes with their own difficulties and responsibilities and challenges. So I would say with your platform and everybody sharing their knowledge, because that was quite, I would say, a niche in the market, and maybe not the right word, I would say a gap in the market, whereas the industry itself is quite big, but sharing of the knowledge, if you see nowadays, the world is full of sharing knowledge on a podcast and just on other social media platforms so that everybody can get the right piece of information. So I think we are, in the transport industry, we are a little bit behind on that side, whereas I think people and professionals need to come up with more of their knowledge that they have gained over the years, so that everybody get the right practice, because I think right practice makes you a right transport manager.
Did you know at the Transport Manager Coach that we can help you with your HGV and Transport Manager insurance? If not, feel free to contact us for more information.
Yeah, and that's lovely to hear you say, because that's the reason that Darren and I set the Transport Manager Coach up, because, like you say, the logistics and transport industry is huge. It's what moves the country and keeps it moving. But as a transport manager, it can be very, very lonely and insular at times, because you are working, especially as an external transport manager, you're working alone a lot of the time. You might be moving from one client to the other during the week, but you'll be working alone. You'll be stuck on a desk in the corner, and you're just someone who turns up maybe for a couple of hours a week, and everyone has to quickly get the defect book signed and quickly download the driver's card because the transport manager's coming in this afternoon.
Yeah.
So to have that platform where you can chat to others, you can just double check a fact or a procedure or something that you might be unsure of, and not get worried about being shot down or questioned about your experience. It's great that the community is already growing and acting like that. And in terms of joining it, maybe as a transitioning military personnel who might not have had their CPC yet, their manager CPC yet, we've got courses on there for people who are looking to transition, and they might want to find a little bit, find out a little bit more what CIVVY Street's like. And there's an introduction to transport management. It's not quite as in depth as the OLAT, but there's plenty for them to do and find out before taking the leap into the manager CPC if they wanted to choose to do so. So, I mean, that's kind of me getting to the end of wrapping up. Is there anything else that you wanted to pass on to the listeners about yourself? I mean, if people wanted to reach out and chat to you, I'm sure this podcast will find its way to the ears of some military personnel who are transitioning or thinking of doing so. If they wanted to try and get in contact with you, how's best to do so?
I'm more than happy to help anybody, not just, I would say, the service people, whoever is new to the industry, because I think with this industry, it's all about working together and growing together, which comes from learning together as well. So service personnel that I would like to add on with the advice part of it would be, if you have an interest in this sector, go ahead, give this a chance, and let's see how does it work for you, because there's quite a lot of opportunities. You can be external transport manager, you can be internal one, which gives you the freedom as the external transport manager to be your own boss and not to work from 9 to 5 job if you're not into that sort of structure. Or if you've done your 24 years of service, you had that busy period of time and time away from your family as well. So if you want to just spend a bit more time with the family and a bit more relaxed time after your full service, I would say it's highly recommended. You can have your pension, and simultaneously you can be that external transport manager for a passive income on the side as well. And one thing I like really about the external transport manager is because when you are on that Ford operator license, you're working with probably 4 different sort of operation, and enhances your knowledge much more than being on a one internal transport manager role itself. Because yes, it does comes with a lot of its own challenges. That's why we have this platform, because every operation is different to each other with own challenges, so that we can all share the knowledge here. And whoever has passed the CPC, and if they would like to share the knowledge or help each other out, or either to get more help from somebody else, brilliant platform. Join this platform. Go ahead with this. better than watching Netflix. All the time, or any other platform online.
Yeah.
You have to spend your money on. It's worth it, and I think the knowledge and the help that we're gonna get from the platform itself is I think is a lot better than just looking towards the financial side of it. Apart from that, we are on the FTD events next month in November. So
okay, and where is that?
It's in CIVVY, up north.
Okay.
Yeah, in Yorkshire. So me and Darren would be going up there to represent the to be compliant for the service leaver and help out on the resettlement period and to advise and guide people if you are interested in the transport sector. So whoever's listening to this, if they are a service leaver or the resettlement period, highly recommend to come and say hi to us on the event itself. So yeah, more than happy to help you out and have a chat. But yeah, I'll just be honest, be like, okay, come and see how the sector is. And most probably 90% of the time, I would say people are going to enjoy it. I'm going to go ahead with the sector. And this sector does need people with the military mindset. The country itself is struggling on the workforce in the logistics sector. So why not to contribute towards the economy and towards our country itself?
Yeah, the discipline, attention to detail, the work ethic, just the routine and the patterns and just the experience with procedures and SOPs and things like that. It's almost carbon built for to move from transition from one to the other, isn't it? It's a great role for ex-military personnel to move into with that mindset. So, no, honestly, Jazz, it's been amazing chatting to you. I'm going to try and get up to the transition day as well. I'm going to see if I do work full time outside of the transport manager coach. I'm going to try and get away and get up there as well because I really enjoyed Southampton. It was a great day out. And massive thank you for you to coming on today, mate, and making the time as well. I know I know you're busy. You say you get your 4 days off. I miss those days of 4 on 4 off. It's probably one of the best shifts in the world. But thank you for making the time this evening to come in on. And it's been brilliant to hear the story and just to see how you've taken the structure and the mindset from the military and you're building a great career in transport management. And I know a lot of ex-forces listeners will relate to what you shared and hopefully take some real confidence from it as well and maybe start stepping into the industry. So yeah, I think we've been on for just over an hour now. It's flown by. Like I said, I could carry on chatting all day, and I warned you as well, didn't I? I said I get a bit nervous about the podcast before they start, but then once I get into a conversation with someone, especially someone who's really interesting, I could just chat. But no, I really appreciate it, mate.
No, brilliant. No, thank you so much, Leo, and thank you for helping out everybody in the sector as well. And
honestly, it's a pleasure, mate.
For all the help. Yeah. No,
okay, and I might see you next month.
Sure. Thank you so much, buddy.
Take care, mate.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.